Hello everyone, I'm Black Marvin. I'm a progressive psychedelic trance artist. I'm a professional sound designer, and I'm also a teacher for electronic music production. Today, I got 3 advanced techniques to show in Faceplant. I used these 3 techniques in the creation process of my latest bank, Vertigo for Faceplant. Vertigo, it's 100 granular only Psytrance presets for Faceplant, and it's my most complex project to date. And this is due to it being inside Faceplant, up to 8 macros to program, pretty much infinite snap-ins to stack. The only limitation is like CPU, but the rest you can stack a lot of stuff and link a complete maze of modulation. Today, I wanted to show you 3 techniques I used in the creation of this pack. The first one being parametric filtering, the second one sequenced convolution, and the third one, resonance suppressors inside Faceplant. And as always, if you're into Faceplant, if you're into Psytrance inside Faceplant, or just any exciting sound design in general, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to this channel. And now, without further ado, let's jump in and see these 3 techniques. All right, so we are inside Faceplant, and the first technique I want to show is parametric filtering. So it's quite simple. It's really not that complicated once you understand what's going on. So I loaded a source, granular source. It's double oscillator saw 01C. It's from Molecules. It's very, it's a colored saw wave. It sounds like this, and it's also on 116 grains, and it's generating small grains. I'm gonna go for, I could have used a wavetable for this, but since I'm showing stuff that has been done inside Vertigo, I wanted to use granular. So usually, inside Faceplant, you can do anything you want, but in common synthesis, you would have your sound source, your generator, and you would have some kind of filtering. So the common filters inside Faceplant, ladder filter. It's a really cool one. I want to do more videos on this one. You have ladder filter. You have the filter, which is the cleanest and most transparent filtering process there is inside Faceplant, and it's this one. There's actually a lot of options and a lot of ways to filter. Maybe you've seen in the pack also some stuff like this. That's actually a nice, you can do nice sweeps in the spectrum doing this. So there's the filter. And finally, you also have the non-linear filter, which has also been used in the pack with, I would have to say, a lot of I really fell in love with the warm algorithm. Inside Vertigo. It's been used a lot, as well as the clean algorithm. But yeah, these are the common filtering methods inside Faceplant. Now we're going to get rid of all of these. And we're actually going to load Slice EQ, which is a parametric EQ for the kilohertz ecosystem. I'm going to make that window pop because it's very useful. The way it works is you're introducing filtering points, which have different curves, different parameters, and you're moving them around like this. And hopefully you're already familiar with the parametric EQ. So I want to discuss about that parametric filtering method. So instead of having, let's say, a bandpass filter like this, which is cool. So I'm going to go here inside Slice EQ, and I'm going to do a bandpass because that's also a bandpass. That is a bandpass, and that's also a bandpass. It's just that the band is much larger, and you're letting a lot more frequency go through the filtering process, but it's still a bandpass. Now, what's cool is we're gonna make a bandpass shape, but that is quite unique, and we can also make it evolve and change. So we have these 2 articulations right here, and I guess or you might not know, but in the filtering process, resonance is actually a thing. It's gonna give characteristic to your filter. Too much resonance is not good, but a bit of resonance is always cool. It's gonna put more emphasis on the filtering process. So we have this right here. We're gonna actually really highlight a lot that band here, because it's gonna filter here, it's gonna cut, and it's gonna be very colorful because there's gonna be resonance here. And I'm gonna make this band pass, and you know what? I'm also going to take something like this. Okay, that's we're gonna do that, and we're gonna do something even cooler. I'm gonna use, okay. I'm not using Snap Eat, but usually when I do this, I use Snap Eat because I want to contain everything inside here. But for this case, I'm gonna use Faceplant. Okay, so stay with me here. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna move that. I'm gonna get a random modulator, and I'm gonna link that to that cutoff here. So basically, what I'm getting, you can see, and I want some smooth. You definitely need some smooth in there, because otherwise, you're gonna get something that is it's gonna be too edgy, too square. And I'm gonna put sync here into, I want that faster a bit, maybe something like this. So now I have a bandpass with a filtering that is moving to in the middle. So there's something alive in the filter. So that's the filter we're gonna use now. So I'm gonna close that. And you're wondering, how can I use this? Well, there's that offset knob, which is very, very, very good for that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna link that to a macro. It's gonna be very simple. It's not going to be a complex preset. It's just to demonstrate that parametric filtering process. And now if I filter what we have, it sounds like this. So hopefully you hear that there's something alive in there. You know, it's not linear. I like it that much. I've not done that shape in Vertigo, but there's actually some sludge modules. If you go right here, there's some sludge modules that have been used inside Vertigo. And yeah, you have, there's infinite filters. So this one, for example, you know, you can see that it's alive. It's definitely alive. So yeah, there's some of the sludge module, like I said, I have been used inside Vertigo. And these sludge modules, they use the parametric filtering technique. So maybe just a bit more sound example. I'm gonna drop that by 1 octave. And also what we're gonna do, what I really like to do is get an OTT here, because it really beefs up the sound. And then let's play with a couple sound example. I'm gonna get a couple of different granular sources. Also, I'm gonna add distortion. It's always the same inside Faceplant. It's like, oh, I'm gonna have that. I'm gonna have that. And I promised myself I would do something short, but here I am. But yeah, distortion basically, if you didn't know it, there's resonance prior to distortion, which we have here. Resonance prior to distortion gives really nice result, almost like it starts to scream like acid sounds. All right, enough for that saw wave. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go inside mycological. Let's get maybe let's get a tryptamine source. All right, yes, that's. I think you can see the result and the potential really quickly. Instead of me just cycling through all of these, you know, these are available as well. These are granular sources available on Fractal Sounds. If you want, you can just recreate that or make your own shape and start fiddling with these. You can. There's all of these. There's 200 for mycological and 200 for molecules. So that's a lot of granular sources to test with the parametric filtering technique. So now we are at the next technique, and I think I'm going to continue building on this since it makes sense, and we're going to all come down to also the last technique. But now the second technique is sequenced convolution. What is sequenced convolution? Well, inside Faceplant and the kilohertz ecosystem, we have Convolver. What I'm going to do for that, I'm not, well, actually, never mind. I can do it here. Just keep in mind that in Vertigo, you'll often see that it's inside snap heap containers because it's easier to manage. Like I really make myself some small modules. So I have, it's called stacks, actually. Yes, stacks. I have all these have been used extensively. But for example, Convolver sequencer, you can see that, yeah, there's, that's why I use snap heap. You can stack more stuff, but I'm gonna show it in a basic version just here inside Faceplant, just like right there, boom, Convolver. So the idea is convolution is nice. If you don't know, I have some videos on Convolver. I'm gonna put them in the description. But basically, the idea, you can have reverbs. I'm going to put just like a regular reverb. That's kind of the classic use of the Convolver. So I'm going to go here, get Eternia impulse responses. By the way, these are free, like free. You can get them on the Fractal Sound website. I'm going to put the link in the description. I'm going to have a lot of links to put in the description. So yeah, that's very typical reverb impulse response, right? This one is called Cold Empire, but I'm actually working on a pack. It's going to be called Storm, and it's impulse responses and a lot of spatial alteration stuff for Faceplant. And I've used already some impulse responses inside Vertigo. If you go into something more glitchy, these are a Storm glitch. Let's hear first this one. How this one sounds. So yeah, you can hear that's quite freaky and a bit more unstable. The idea now is to go and select one piece of the impulse response that is even freakier. So that's really good. Maybe just for fun, we can try to reverse it. Well, in this example, I actually prefer this one. So what we're going to do now is we're going to sequence it, because usually, with reverb, you don't, it's been done before, but you don't sequence reverb that much. But since this one kind of brings some sort of glitchy, but like foggy veil on top of the sound, now we can sequence it, and it's going to act in a funny but cool way. So I'm going to get an LFO on the mix, of course. Unipolar is actually the way to go in this case. Now, usually when you sequence stuff, you kind of want to work with, some mathematical values. And yeah, now we just sequence it into something nice. So yeah, now we have this, it sounds cool. We have this sort of convolution signal bouncing in and out. What is also nice, you see you have some sharp edges, but I actually found that also like you can get some nice like reverb aspect that are really pleasing. But obviously if you go with some sharp edges, you can have like more click-like behavior, so you can listen to how that sound, it's more smooth. That's really cool. And it's also a bit choked, right? So I think I'm gonna go and get a bit of a like clearer tone. Yeah, it's nice. And obviously, I just pick one, but if you just swap other impulse responses, you get different results. So you can get definitely like a lot of different stuff. And also, like you've seen in some of the Snap E presets, there's actually like a sequencing, but with multiple impulse responses. So if I go back here, just get like the Convolver Sequencer 3, you can see that there's, multiple sequence. And usually I use very small values, so it gets something really it's almost like a texture at this point. It's more a texture than a reverb. So that's one example, and it pairs really well with some other glitch sequencing, which I'm not going to elaborate into today, but I really wanted to show you that nice I feel like I want to keep playing with that. But yeah, if you get some nice impulse responses, there's some cool stuff here. Some in the internia, there's chant and the spring deep verb. Yeah, nice. Yeah, that's exactly the type of stuff I was describing. And by the way, like I said, Eternia, these impulse responses, they're free. There's also some presets for the Convolver. You can start and grab them, like start using them right away. And that's pretty much it for that technique. Today I chose to talk about these 3 techniques and nothing more, because I need to contain stuff when it comes to Faceplant, because so much stuff to do, so much stuff possible. The next technique is resonance suppressing. So this one is a bit more finicky to show in its full potential, but basically there's stuff called resonance. And if you don't know what resonance is, yeah, for this one, I think I'm gonna really go and make a whole new preset. It's gonna be more simple. Let's take analog. Let's take a really regular filter, and I'm gonna show what resonance is, just in case you don't know what this is and how it translates into actual music production context. So I'm gonna use the Fruity Parametric EQ2 here, because visually there's something called the heat map inside this one. It's the red spectrum analyzer. And it shows really well the pressure spots inside the parametric EQ. So resonance is basically, in this case, because resonance means something here which is kind of connected, but not exactly the same when it comes to mixing. But resonance is basically an overpressured point in the frequency spectrum. So I'm going to artificially create resonance here to demonstrate it for you. I actually put a lot of resonance on the filter, but it's going to appear like an overly red spot on the heat map. So you can see that resonance spot moving around in the spectrum, but that's actually, in this case, it's not too much. But basically what happens is whenever you're working inside Psytrance, presets, drum and bass music, everything that is, because we're basically trying to destroy the sound in a cool fashion. Sometimes the filtering process, all these, could be like a heavy flanging frequency shifting, but mostly just distortion and filtering. It creates resonance spots. So for example, I'm gonna attempt to make a very harsh, like very harsh preset that is way too much. It won't be too difficult because, you know, Psytrance you can get some really harsh result easily. So let's get that FM flare, for example. So sounds good for now. Let's destroy it. I'm gonna go ahead and use, I think, one of the sludge modules, maybe SNH filter. All right, so that's already not bad. And now let's put the final, you know, the final nail in the coffin, because a lot of distortion, and yeah, we're trying to do it on purpose. All right, yeah, obviously, you know, I just hit like that's the what's this one called? It's the Gremlin texture, smooth step, high grain. With every resonance, and you know, we're gonna put an even more, just to make sure it really is problematic. So with Fatuator probably. But if you're wondering, okay, how can I avoid that? So you kind of need to, well, I'm not gonna show the whole fix, but if you want to avoid that, what you can do is actually take care of your signal properly through the chain. That means maybe put some EQing and filtering in between this one and here. Also, you need to put some post EQ after the distortion process. That's going to help not get that result. But since I really wanted to go for that, that's perfect. Now, so yeah, we have something harsh now. And I was in some presets trying to, because let's be honest, inside Faceplant, there's no reason to provide a preset that does not sound fully, like almost fully mastered, and you know, because there's just such amazing processing power. So I really want to get something clean, but also to make it like, to give it the most texture possible, the craziest stuff, but also to get it something that is really clean at the end. So the way I found to do that is to create resonance suppressors. So Sooth, obviously it's not, you know, it's nothing, it's not the official thing. And the thing with resonance suppressor, you might know Smooth Operator, you might know Sooth too. Actually, these are really efficient tools, but they have an algorithm behind it. So that's kind of an attempt to manually recreate that. Basically, what we are looking at here is multiple bands with, that's just a gain. And there's some audio follow modules that are receiving signal, and depending on the amount of signal received, they're gonna lower the gain. So let's hear how that sounds now. So this one was, you know, it's something I created for a preset. This one is obviously eating up a lot of gain, but really doesn't matter in the sense when it's in the signal chain. What I usually did was just bring in some gain. You know, just when you learn how to control the gain flow inside Faceplant, that's all good. And I think this one I actually went with a bit more. I made some little macros for myself so I could increase the sensitivity and the out gain. So basically, I'm going to show you how to redo that in a very basic fashion. And I say basic fashion because you can go really deep. You can put, since you can put multipass inside multipass and everything, you can go really deep, but I actually never felt like I needed to do more than that. But basically what we are looking at is different bands. And I went here and take the audio follower. And let's start with the middle, but we could start with this one, but that's band 3. So the idea is to tell the audio follow to listen to what's incoming into band 3. So you can see it's receiving some signal from here. So this guy, like right here, listening to this. And the idea was to get a gain, I think with percentage, or well, both work very well. I think I'm gonna go with percentage, and you can also tell, I think peak is better than RMS in this case. And we're basically telling the audio follow to reduce gain whenever there's too much signal incoming. And now the idea is to do that for each band. And now we have it on all the bands. And usually the way I was doing it is like I was creating one of these for one specific preset, because it's hard to make it like fit for everything. But since this preset has specific frequency behavior, I can put like a more sensitivity on the top band, you know, and voila. So depending on each band behavior and reaction, I can adjust that. So you can see that already with this one, it's kind of taming down the preset. And then after that, you can do some post EQ to really, you know, like you should. But here's a simple AB. So that's an example. But yeah, remember that we just created a monster in order to demonstrate that. So if you, when you bring it back to an actual, like a normal context, you can get some really nice results. Yeah, that actually makes more sense. But I really wanted to work with something very harsh so you can understand. And in this case, for this preset, I would just do some post EQ on that. And voila, now we have something that doesn't murder any ears. Well, not in the bad way, but in the correct way. And that was the last technique, that was the resonance suppressing technique. And also, I remember in the pack, I've actually done that with some slice EQ. So you can, you know, there's a more advanced way to do it. I laugh because I attempted to end the video, but I just remembered about something. But a bit more precise way to do it is to work with a slice EQ. And so let's say you really want to reduce something specific. Now, the way you would do it is you have this gain here. And basically, instead of, I'm just going to put that so you can see everything. So instead of removing the gain, just like overall gain, if you want to target a specific frequency, now that's band 4, what we would do is to move that around. So now you would have something hyper precise for a very specific frequency band, just hitting on and off. So that's even, and let's be honest, it looks cool. So I've done that also in the pack. There's some instances of some resonance suppressor that use that. And that's all for now for the resonance suppressing technique, and also for the 3 techniques I've used inside Vertigo. And that's it for this video. Yeah, Vertigo is definitely, it's my biggest project yet. Needless to say, I'm really proud of it. There's a lot of complexity but some useful complexity, you know, just not just like throwing stuff for throwing stuff. So there's always also that job, because you want stuff to be elaborate, but you want it to serve a purpose. The link for the pack is in the description. I got loads of faceplant content coming out, loads of nice sound design content coming up on the channel. If you want to learn more about electronic music production, I have a community of students. There are some one-to-one lessons, some group lessons, and a lot of educational content. So if you're interested, you can come on Instagram and we can have a chat how we can help you become a better producer. And until then, I will see you in another video. Have fun, enjoy producing. See you.